After a one-week intermission, the action continues on tonight for the World of Outlaws NOS Energy Drink Sprint Car Series for round number 6 of the 2021-2022 campaign. 35 of the top sim racers on iRacing.com take on the sprint car capital of the world, home to the biggest sprint car race on the planet. It's the virtual Knoxville Raceway here in Knoxville, Iowa. Welcome to all of our viewers watching all over the world tonight on all of iRacing's various social media platforms, Twitch, Facebook, YouTube, and everyone watching on DirtVision.com. My name is Chase Rodman. Great to be back here in the commentary box alongside Justin Prince. And well, Justin, 1 week off seemed like an eternity, but we are back and ready to resume this rather interesting championship fight. And I think you know what I mean when I say interesting. It has been wild the last few weeks.
Absolutely, especially when it comes to some of the problems a few of the drivers have had to face when it comes to certain aspects. But when it comes to the races themselves, Chase, they've also been very wild in that there hasn't really been a clear-cut favorite, it seems, just about every single round. You've had good competitors in terms of some of the top 10 runs, but it hasn't been the case where the usual favorite is running up in the front each week. It's been an unpredictable campaign from the get-go with some of the issues that some of the drivers have faced.
It sure has. We talk about some of the races prior to this. Let's take a look. Well, actually, let's take a look at the schedule, or the standings, I should say, real quick. You see Cameron Merriman is at the top, and you heard Justin talk about some circumstances out of control for these drivers. And Alex Bergeron, James Edens, over the last 2 races, each of those drivers were leading the point standings at one point in time and had technical problems throughout one of the races. So James Edens' last race, I believe at Williams Grove, he lost connection to the race. And then the week before that, Alex Bergeron had lost connection to the iRacing server, and that leaves Cameron Merriman right now at the top of the heap here for the standings, followed by Bergeron, Edens, Rumsey, and Tucker, the top 5.
Yeah, it's been a very topsy-turvy schedule so far in terms of the action on that mark. But in turn, that's just proven the amount of execution needed to be done, just how much pressure in turn is required for this type of a round today. There's going to be a lot of weight, to say the very least, not just about the heats, but how this round in total fares out for drivers today.
Well, let's take a look at the starting lineup for heat race number 1 here tonight. And by virtue of going quick time in qualifying this evening, the driver out of Quebec, Canada, it's going to be the 3-time defending series champion on the pole. It's the number 12 of Alex Bergeron. And to the outside of him, out of Chesney, South Carolina, it's going to be the 33 of Evan C., starting from second.
Third spot tonight, we'll see the number 13 of Aiden Bierlein try and roll his way from the inside of row number 2. He'll start alongside the number 91 tonight. That, once more, is Ernie Williams Jr. From Sherwood, Ohio.
Row 3 to the inside. Your 5th starter comes to us out of Newcastle, New South Wales, Australia. It's car number 50, Clayton Davies. And to the outside of him, out of Auburn, Washington, the 33 is going to be Lane Stevens.
Next row on behind features Jeremy St. Louis, who's with Dirt Car Racing Esport and starts in 7th. He'll start alongside the number 21. That's Chris Sabeski, who will round things off for the first heat of tonight's action.
You say the first heat race, we have 4 of them here tonight, 10 laps in distance. The top 4 in each heat race will move on to tonight's feature event. The rest of them will have to go to one of 2 last chance qualifiers. You see the grid rolling off there, heading onto the racetrack for the first time here tonight. Let's take a look at the schedule that we've had so far this season. We've had 5 races. You see that driver right there on your screen, Alex Bergeron? Amazingly, a 3-time defending series champion has not won any of them. We take a look there. Volusia Speedway Park was the first race of the season. Then we went to Kokomo, Bristol Dirt, Eldora, and Williams Grove Speedway. We've only had 1 repeat winner. That was James Edens. He did it back-to-back at Bristol and Eldora. But looking ahead on the schedule, the next 3 races there, Justin, we move away from these half miles and kind of come down to the 3/8 and quarter-mile racetracks.
A lot of potential for bump and bang at those racetracks, too, as we've seen throughout the season, Chase. They have not been the easiest places to try and make passes at some of them as well. It's been where if you aren't comfortable at those types of tracks, you're going to very much struggle heading into that final round of the season of the dirt track in Charlotte. In our words, you better do well tonight and then try and keep things on forward for the next 3, because if you falter at all starting tonight, you can say goodbye to your championship hopes.
It's been a wild season so far. Many comers and goers, especially early on in the campaign, but we're starting to see who is going to be coming out possibly on top at the end of the race there at the dirt track at Charlotte. The pace truck is off. We are ready for heat race number 1 as we head down the front straightaway. We are underway here at Knoxville Raceway for round number 6 of the World of Outlaws NOS Energy Drink Sprint Car Series here on iRacing.com. Alex Bergeron leads the field into turn 3.
And a great start for competitors as Bergeron looks to try and build up some buffers. Beerline, meanwhile, to the outside. Quickly taken away second. He moves down to the middle line to try and defend things on. Keep in mind they continue to shuffle about early on.
Bergeron out to a 5-car length lead. Aiden Beerline running in second. Evan C. is third, and Ernie Williams Jr. right now holding on to that fourth and final transfer spot. That is the 91 car right there, the blue machine on your screen. Behind him, it's Clayton Davies trying to get up next to him. If he can get by him, he will start in tonight's feature event, but obviously he'll start mid-pack. If Davies cannot get by the 91 of Ernie Williams Jr., he will start from the front row of tonight's B-main event.
Already a couple laps in, though. Davies starting to get a little bit more comfortable, starting to move up the track. Everyone is currently trying to keep themselves away from the berm to the inside currently. Most of the drivers preferring that middle group, a little higher up for Davies, having to lift off a little bit off the gas. That puts him under grasp for Lane Stevens, all while Evan C., he wants to try and pick up a spot. Tries to peek to the inside of Beerline, can't do so, coming up to halfway.
Every spot you gain inside the top 4 will move you up 2 rows in the A-main starting grid. Evan C., the winner at Kokomo Speedway earlier on this season, trying to get by Aiden Beerline and set himself up nicely for the feature event later on this evening. 6 laps complete. We've still got 4 to go, this time by the starter stand. C turns it down the hill off of turn number 4. Beerline shuts the door on him entering turn number 1.
Very defensive right now. Beerline is currently, you have to say, Chase. This has been one of his best heat race runs, though, of the season. He's had a lot of ups and downs, Beerline has this campaign, laying a lot of defense over C. All while Williams Jr., he's built up a buffer of about half a second over Clayton Davies, trying a different line, trying to dime in the corner off turn 2 to close up and make it a 3-car battle.
Yeah, I like what I'm seeing there out of Ernie Williams Jr. He knows he's on the bubble spot, and he's got to try something different here to make a pass and get off of that hot seat there as he's all over Evan C. You see Williams about a lane lower than Evan C. right now as they work down the back straightaway. Bergeron last time by with a 0.7 of a second lead over Beerline. Here comes C once again, really diamonds the corner right there, but cannot get a run on the 13 of Beerline.
Down to the final lap this time around. Beerline still trying different lines. C still can't make a pass, all while Bergeron continues to wave bye-bye from the pack. Nearly 7/10 up, coming out through the final corners. Beerline misses the bottom.
Final time down the front straightaway, it's going to be Bergeron with the win. He will start on the pole of tonight's feature event. Aiden Beerline will hang on to the second spot. Third goes to Evan C. in the 33. Fourth and final transfer, the 91 of Ernie Williams Jr. Behind them going to the LCQs, the number 33 of Lane Stevens, the 50 of Clayton Davies, the 1 of Jeremy St. Louis, and the number 21 of Chris Sebeski. Now getting ready for heat race number 2, and on the pole, the defending winner at this race, it's the number 5 out of Franklin, Pennsylvania. It's Braden Eiler. And to the outside of him, the best qualifying effort of the season for this driver out of Naperville, Quebec, Canada. It's the 91 of Felix Roy.
From Millersburg, Pennsylvania, Row 2 features the number 85. His name is Tyler Shell. He'll start alongside the Hanford, California-based driver Shea Powell from Elbows Up Sim Sport, 2 teammates in Row 2.
Row number 3, 2 drivers inside the top 5 in the point standings coming in tonight. The driver on the inside of row number 3 comes to us out of Manchester, Pennsylvania. It's the 41 of Logan Rumsey. And to the outside, he's the current points leader with the World of Outlaws NOS Energy Drink Sprint Car Series here on iRacing.com. Out of Ellicott City, Maryland, it's the 17 of Cameron Merriman.
From Sacramento, California, Justin Big Sherman starts in 7th in this heat. He'll start alongside the Newcastle, Australia-based driver, and Clayton Davies to round out the grid for Heat 2.
8 drivers, once again, 10 laps, top 4 moving on to the feature event. And I want to highlight the driver starting inside of row number 3. This week, the biggest week in micro sprint racing in real life. And Logan Rumsey is in Tulsa, Oklahoma for the Tulsa Shootout. And tonight, Rumsey racing from an Airbnb there, Justin. He sent me a picture earlier on this evening. Rumsey right now, currently, like I said, top 5 in the point standings coming tonight. So definitely an interesting setup for him here tonight.
Yeah, that's going to be a very tough challenge because when it comes to racing in a very unfamiliar situation or a location, you have to make sure your connections are all strong. You're good in terms of comfortability. You have everything set up to your proper height. You've been able to get some practice laps to make sure there's no issues. You make sure everything's secure. One major mistake, mind you, you don't want your steering wheel flying across your hotel room or Airbnb room. In other words, for Logan Rumsey, could be challenging for him tonight.
We'll see what he can do. He's got a lot of pressure on his shoulders here. Like I said, in the top 5 in the point standings. The green flag is in the air and leading the field down the front straightaway. Like I mentioned earlier, the defending winner here at Knoxville Raceway, the number 5 of Braden Eiler showing the way. Second spot's Tyler Schell. A little bit of a bobble for Shea Pallow. He slips out of the picture, and a couple cars kind of sideways down the backstretch was Justin Sherman. He keeps on going as we make our way down the front straightaway.
That bobble lost him a lot of time as a result. Justin Sherman now behind by a few tenths of a second. All while Rumsey tries to battle amongst the bubble spot. Shea Powell trying to peak a little bit higher this time. All while Cameron Merriman tries to get into the rhythm with Clayton Tilley right on behind him. Fourth on back, lined up in a train. Rumsey, though, under attack from Powell.
Yeah, Shea Pallow to the inside, but want to keep an eye on the 17 of Cameron Merriman. He is the current points leader in the series, and he's got the pressure on because Bergeron second in the points, just won his heat race, so Merriman needs to win, or not win, but at least transfer out of this heat race as Rumsey and Pallow go at it. Here comes Merriman to the inside, trying to get 3 wide for the transfer spot.
Side by side as Powell tries to complete the slide. Up on forward, coming to 6 laps to go in this heat. Rumsey bobbling around, makes contact. Rumsey slides it about. Merriman now watches in the popcorn seat. He dives it around to the bottom near the berm. Merriman jumps up to the first spot out of the bubble spots.
Cameron Merriman up to 5th. Behind him, Clayton Davies, I should say, or Clayton Tilley, I should say, trying to go to the inside of Rumsey. They make contact off the corner. Tilley slips out of the picture, but the 17 of Merriman all over the 69 of Pallow down the back straightaway. He's got to get up into that 4th position to transfer straight to tonight's feature event. Up front, it's all Braden Eiler, Tyler Schell, and Felix Roy. They pulled away from this transfer battle.
Remember, this is a similar situation where if a driver who leads in the points or is in the championship fight drops out from those transfer spots, it's much more tougher to be able to try and gather points in the feature. One of the best examples, Hayden Cardwell, a few years back. But with 3 laps to go, Merriman's losing ground to Shea Powell. He's losing ground as Rumsey tries to attack him back.
Okay, here comes Rumsey to the inside. He's going to throw a slider on Cameron Merriman up the racetrack. Rumsey takes it away. Merriman cuts back to the inside, reclaims 5th down the front straightaway. 2 to go, and Merriman is running out of time as he looks to track down the Hanford, California driver, Shea Pallow.
He'll need a big-time run to try and get this attack on forward. Trying a way higher line this time. Powell going even higher, though, through the corner. White flag this time by. Currently, this is all while Eiler, Schell, Roy are inside the top 3. But Powell looking comfortable. One more set of corners.
One more time at a 3 and 4. Looks like it's going to be Braden Eiler getting the win in heat race number 2, followed by Tyler Schell, Felix Roy, and Shea Pallow, the 4 drivers that will move on to tonight's feature event out of heat race number 2. Behind them, it was your points leader, Cameron Merriman in 5th, then Logan Rumsey 6th, Clayton Tilley 7th, and Justin Sherman in 8th. Shout out to Felix Roy there. That's the first time he's made a feature this season, and he does it right there. Now, taking a look at heat race number 3. Here is the lineup on the pole. Driver currently 3rd in the point standings out of Santa Rosa, California. It's a Swindell Speed Lab number 52 of James Edens. And to the outside of him out of Greenfield, Indiana, it's the car number 06 of Rylan Gray.
The next row features another Swindell driver. This is the Tracy, California-based driver of Adam Elby. He'll start alongside J.D. Hollywood Brown from Bakersfield, California.
In row number 3, that's where you're going to find the number 76. That's Braden Shute coming to us out of Londonderry, Sydney, Australia. And to the outside of him, it's the number 22 of Mason Hannigan out of Pittsboro, Indiana.
7th spot goes to the Kligerman Sport driver from Charlotte, North Carolina. His name, Carwin Cure. Rounding out the field for this respective heat, say hello once more to the number 86 in Timothy Smith.
Well, the great season continues on here tonight for James Edens as he will start from the pole here in this heat race after a good qualifying effort. And, well, Edens, Justin, he needs to have a good run here tonight after what happened at Williams Grove. We talked about it a little bit earlier. He lost internet connection on the grid for that race and came a couple laps down, finished way outside of the top 15. Edens needs to have no issues here tonight to try and keep tabs with Bergeron and Merriman.
Yeah, you don't want to end up having that jinx a couple times in a row, to say the very least. It will essentially take you out of full contention for a championship run. But when it comes to Edens, the big thing is, Chase, he's become the quickest driver on the long run the past few rounds, especially at the bigger racetracks. He's been able to find lines that no one else has been running, but also, he's mentioned a couple times in some of the post-race interviews, he's been able to find that right balance of comfort right for the final 5-10 laps or so to be able to pounce for the race win in a couple cases.
James Edens, like you said, the big tracks have played into his favor this season. He picked up 2 wins in a row. The first one was at the Bristol Motor Speedway with the dirt on top of it, and the very next week he got it done at Eldora with a last lap pass for the win. We'll see if another half mile can suit him here tonight at Knoxville Raceway. Edens is off and away into turn number 1 with his teammate Adam Elby right behind him in second.
A good launch from that inside row as we expected with that coordination, but keep an eye on the driver already charging for 5th, Braden Shute. All while Mason Hannigan takes a hard left to be able to dive to the inside to go for the slide job from 5th position. Back and forth as Brown starts to defend.
Mason Hannigan, another one of those drivers running the Tulsa Shootout this week in that number 22 car. He might be racing on a rig that he's not used to. He's running in the 6th position, and here comes the number 86 at Timothy Smith to the inside. He'll go by and take over the 6th spot.
Timothy Smith a little bit to the berm this time, losing ground to Braden Shute and company. Shute now gets back into the rhythm, coming up to 7 laps to go. All these drivers getting more and more higher up the racetrack as the line moves up towards the edge of the Armco.
Yeah, and here comes Hannigan to the inside of Shute. They might have made some contact off the corner. Now Timothy Smith to the inside of Hannigan. The race for 5th is getting hot and heavy here, Justin, but these guys are racing for 1 spot out of the transfer. Man, you think if they've got in line, they might be able to catch up to the 4th place car, J.D. Brown.
I feel like that defensive move from turn 3 was exactly that message Shute was trying to send, especially with Hannigan doing wheelies down the backstretch. Cure makes a pass on him. Now they've lost about 7 car lengths to J.D. Brown halfway through the heat. Braden Shute needs to get back into the rhythm to close out there, running 15-1s at the head of the field.
Yeah, Mason Hannigan clipped the wall in the backstretch the last time by. Might be some damage to the right rear end of that race car. We continue on up front. We got a race for the lead. Adam Elby looks to the inside of James Edens. Look at the top 4 right here, Justin. 2 by 2. 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th down the back straightaway. This is going to be good in the end.
This might be actually helpful for the drivers looking to catch up to them as well. All while Brown gets the run on Gray. Gray gets shuffled out from the inside. He's now having to go a lane higher up. No move yet from Brown. Brown forced to wiggle about a line below. Elby now tries to set things back up once more. Picks up moisture on the left side tires. He tries to cut up. A big bobble for Elby off the corner.
He's going to lose a car length to James Edens. They will all work the top of the racetrack in 1 and 2. This track is going to change a whole lot more before we get to the feature event here tonight, ladies and gentlemen. These cars will be all over the speedway by the time the 35-lap main event rolls around. As J.D. Brown continues to try and work on the rear bumper of the 06 of Ryland Gray. 1 lap to go, and it looks like Brown is comfortably in that 4th spot. Braden Shute way behind him.
All these drivers trying to battle for track position now for the feature race. If they can keep things clean, Edens looks comfortable, gets the slide, he'll win heat number 3, followed by Elby, rounding out the top 4 positions, Gray and Brown. 1, 2, 3, 4. They started 1, 2, 3, 4 in terms of those positions, I should say, inside that top half for the start of the heat.
Behind those guys, Braden Shute, Timothy Smith, Mason Hannigan, and Carlin Cure heading off to one of our 2 last chance qualifiers later on tonight. Now we get ready for our final heat race of the night. And on the pole, it's going to be the driver out of Knoxville, Tennessee, the 07 of Hayden Cardwell. And to the outside of them, starting from 2nd, it's the driver out of Hamilton Township, New Jersey, the 48 of Dylan Yeager.
From the next state over, from Asheville, New York, it's the Represent LTD machine up Lake Majulis. He'll start alongside the number 90 machine, the Baby Animal. Once more from Birdsboro, Pennsylvania, elbows up Simsports, Gregory, Baby Animal, LeMay.
3rd row inside, the driver to Castleton, Vermont, the 25 of Tyler Ducharme. And to the outside of him, it's the number 18 of Austin Selman, coming to us from Menominee Falls, Wisconsin.
And the last of the drivers for this field, once more another California-based driver from San Jose, California. It's Ross Turbo Kaiser.
7 cars in this heat race, the final heat race of the evening for the World of Outlaws NOS Energy Drink Sprint Car Series here on iRacing.com. So far, Alex Bergeron, James Edens, and Braden Eiler have all taken home victories in their respective heat races. Now we'll have to see who will win this one, as it looks like, oh, never mind, that's just on my screen there. I thought I saw Hayden Cardwell with a little bit of a different paint scheme here tonight, but nope, he's got the same one on here this evening. And Cardwell, well, he's had a good rebound after what happened at the very first race of the season. Just remember back to Volusia when he didn't even make the A-main starting field. Ever since then, though, he's been in the top 5 almost every race and trying to get himself back into the points hunt.
Yeah, and that's one of the main things you have to think about, right, is for a lot of drivers who may struggle early on, Chase, the matter is, at the very minimum, get a top 15 finish in the points. But the main thing also is get yourself into the pool of prizes. Get yourself a good, solid finish in the championship, because that can go a long way for your real-world racing career and potentially for sim racing equipment for future campaigns. You want to be able to have those opportunities.
Absolutely. Well, here we go off of turn number 4. Green is in the air, and it's going to be Cardwell getting away with the race lead. 127, Blake Majulis to the inside of Dylan Yeager. Yeager almost trying to drive back around, and that would have got him in trouble. Contact down the back straightaway with one car sideways, and crashing. It was Austin Selman. His heat race will come to an end.
Bad luck for Settleman as he bounced off a couple different drivers. All will they battle for third. Tyler Ducharme tries to slide his way in the Slick Sim Sport machine. Yeager with the crossover back. Yeager makes the move back to third position. LeMay is the first driver out currently. Keep an eye on the 99. He's trying a different line, trying to round towards the edge of the berm, while most of the drivers have been trying to stay around the top.
Yeah, you see mostly the 48 of Yeager and the 07 of Cardwell way up next to the outside wall here at Knoxville Raceway. The top is starting to come in, but as that grip starts to leave the middle part of the racetrack, Justin, and it gets harder to run that top, that's when you'll see drivers really try and work that inside berm here and work it to perfection. The run in the bottom here at Knoxville is probably one of the toughest things to do on the iRacing service. It's so narrow to hit, and you got to do it consistently if you want to make speed, as you got to race for the transfer down the front straightaway.
Side by side, once again, LeMay makes the slide. He got the middle and bottom lines to work for a bit. Ducharme battles back with the squeeze, tries to feed the back end to LeMay. Ducharme holds on for now, halfway through the respective heat. LeMay tries to battle back to the inside. LeMay goes through the slick, tries to get the run. Bit of contact off the corner.
What a move by LeMay to work the inside of the racetrack there. I should say the middle part of the racetrack. Took the spot away. Ducharme back to the inside down the front straightaway. He will be credited with the 4th position at the start-finish line. He slides in front of LeMay. LeMay once again cuts back to the inside down the back straightaway. And LeMay's got the transfer spot with 3 to go this time by.
Back and forth they go for the transfer spot. LeMay tries to keep the high side this time. Ducharme gives the squeeze. He goes to the slick. He gives a bit of a bump. Here comes LeMay with the crossover back. LeMay tries to battle back down the back. He goes for the slide chomp back. Tries to get it done cleanly as he goes up to the wall. Ducharme crosses him back over. Side by side, 2 to go.
A fierce battle with 2 to go for the final transfer spot. The 25 of Tyler Ducharme, the 99 of Gregory LeMay. Down the back straightaway, side by side. Ducharme sideways off the corner, hangs onto it. LeMay back in front. And now the 4 of Kaiser wants a piece of this battle with the white flag coming out this time by.
Final lap in Heat 4 as Ducharme completes the slide. Was it too early, though? LeMay's got the run down the backstretch. He goes for the squeeze. LeMay with the slide. LeMay with the send. Crossover back for Ducharme for the final transfer spot. Ducharme feeds him the door and the tire. Cardwell wins, Majulis, Yeager, and Ducharme move on.
What a battle for the last transfer spot. Give it to Tyler Ducharme, the driver to Castleton, Vermont. Edges out the number 99 of Gregory LeMay. Then Ross Kaiser, and getting in that early race accident, the 18 of Austin Selman will end up in the 7th position as we now get set for the first of 2 last chance qualifiers. These races, 12 laps in distance, and the top 2 moving on to the feature event. On the pole of LCQ number 1, it's the driver out of Auburn, Washington, the 33 of Lane Stevens, and to the outside of him, the 76 of Braden Shute from Londonderry, Sydney, Australia.
Clayton Davies had a quiet heat with a new look for tonight in row 2. He'll start on the inside. He'll start alongside the number 86 of Timothy Smith.
Row number 3, it's going to be the number 1 of Jeremy St. Louis. That driver coming to us from St. Hyacinthe, Quebec, Canada. And to the outside of him, it's the 22 of Mason Hannigan out of Pittsburgh, Indiana.
Last the drivers in this respective grid, Chris Sabeski will start in 7th position. The number 21 start shotgun.
Once again, 7 cars going at it for 12 laps, but this time just the top 2 moving on to the back end of the feature event. And Justin, you can definitely tell this racetrack is shaping up very, very nicely here throughout these heat races, and it's going to get even better for the feature event. Now, we talked about point structure earlier on this afternoon, or I guess the point standings, I should say. Let's take a look at the structure and how drivers earn points throughout the night. Well, those heat races, they've already went and gone. The winner of each of those heat races got 8 points towards their championship total, with 1 point thereafter. And then in tonight's feature event, 70 points to the winner. And then you see it goes down from 3, and then at the end, after the top 10 goes down by 2. Drivers that don't make it out of these last chance qualifiers, Justin, they don't get any points at all.
Yeah, so now that just shows the amount of urgency they'll needed, and we've seen that a lot over the years where if you're in the last chance qualifiers, it ends up being very crazy because they know it's their big chance to be able to build up those totals and points, to be able to try and make sure they're around that top 15 mark. If you're not able to make feature race after feature race after feature race, it's very difficult to be able to stay in the series, as you know, Chase. You want to be able to legitimize and show yourself for your sponsors, for your team, for your own self-worth. You can make a feature race.
Yeah, there's a lot of people watching these races and a lot of sponsors on the side of a lot of these cars here that would like to see their driver make the show and get themselves some TV time. And we're about to find out who is going to be in the show here tonight as we head down the front stretch into 1 and 2 here in the first LCQ. Lane Stevens is up front, the driver out of Auburn, Washington, leading over the number 50 of Clayton Davies. He's got the final transfer with the 76 as Shoot looking to the inside down the front stretch.
Side by side, remember Braden Shute tried to work hard for those bubble spots before. He works hard for the slide. To the inside, Davies with the crossover back and forth for the bubble spot for now. The final transfer in this LCQ. Shute forced to check up as he tries to diamond it off the corner. Here comes Timothy Smith, though, to join the fun.
We've only got a handful of Australian drivers in the field, and they are running second and third, battling for the final transfer spot. But here comes the driver out of Missouri. It's the 86 of Timothy Smith, like you were talking about, trying to track down the 76 of Shoot and the 50 of Davies down the front straightaway. 4 complete and 8 to go here in LCQ number 1.
Shute trying to diamond it off the corner, still trying to get the bottom line all hooked up as he tries to run now middle. Up to the top as Davies hits the wall. Shute nearly followed him into the fence as well. Now, starting lap 5 this time around, a little bit time game picked up by Shute. He tries to diamond off the corner. Timothy Smith doing the same on behind, but no ground picked up yet as they battle hard with 7 to go. Hey, but check him again.
Man, you can see how rough the cushion is, especially in 3 and 4. Just it's gotten built up there, and it's not very smooth. These drivers are bouncing around all over the place, trying to run it correctly. Side by side down the back straight for the final transfer spot. Can't make the pass as the 76 is Shute. He goes back about a lane lower than the 50 of Davies, and Timothy Smith is really not that far behind him as they work down the front straightaway.
Keep in mind as well, as the slide goes in from Shute, that they also have St. Louis closing in. Davies goes for the cross back on Shute. Coming up to a few laps to go this time as Davies tries to park it on forward. Into the wall goes Shute. Shute with a massive run. Shute elects to go to the high side. Defensive line from Davies. Shute goes for the crossover, tries to build up the run back. Nearly to the side of the 50. Side by side down the back. Here comes Shute for the slide job as he tries to park it. He sticks on the racetrack with 4 to go. Davies
now back into the third spot. He'll throw a slider at him back into turn number 1. Behind him, Timothy Smith tries to roll the bottom, gets sideways, and by on him on the outside. The 21 of Chris Sebeski goes by. Moves Sebeski up to 4th, and he's trying to challenge these two right here for the final transfer spot. The 50 of Davies and the 76 of Shute have swapped second every single lap for at least the last 6 laps or so. Once again, side by side down the back straightaway.
Something's gonna give though, with Shute now going for the slide once more to the corner. Davies trying to diamond it back. Sebeski still trying to close on in. 2 to go at the flag stand. Slide on back for Davies. He gets close now with a 76. Shute with the slide on back to the inside. Coming up to the white flag this time by. Oh wow, it's now 4 cars all under a blanket for 1 transfer spot.
1 to go. Who is going to be in the show here tonight in Knoxville? Davies drives it in deep. Shute back to the inside. And right behind him, the 21 of Sebeski. Down the backstretch one more time into 3 and 4. 1 spot up for grabs. Off of turn number 4. Shute hits the inside berm. And it's going to be Davies getting the final spot as Sebeski nearly crashes across the line. Your race winner by a long shot. The 33 of Lane Stevens. And in second, Clayton Davies. Wow, what a fight between Davies, Shute, and Sebeski. All race long there. Behind them, Jeremy St. Louis, Timothy Smith, and Mason Hannigan round out the field in LCQ number 1 as we get set to go for LCQ number 2. And on the pole, it's going to be the driver out of Ellicott City, Maryland. It's the current points leader with the World of Outlaws NOS Energy Drink Sprint Car Series here on iRacing.com. It's the 17 of Cameron Merriman to the outside, the 99 out of Birdsboro, Pennsylvania, Gregory LeMay.
Third spot tonight goes to the number 41. That's Logan Rumsey with Ross Kaiser starting in the 4th position.
Third row, the 51 of Clayton Tilley out of Perth, Western Australia, and the 18 of Austin Selman trying to bounce back after that heat race crash. He's out of Menominee Falls, Wisconsin. He will start from 6th.
7th spot for this one sees Justin Sherman in the 0Z machine start alongside Carlin Cure, who looks to try and have a clean run to end off this LCQ.
He's going to have a clean run to get up there into those final two spots if he wants any shot at it here. So it's going to be tough, though, with those two guys at the front of the field, Merriman and LeMay. They were super fast in their respective heat racing. I mean, there's at least 4 guys in this one that I can point at, Justin, and tell you, yep, I think they need to be in the show. Merriman, LeMay, Rumsey, and Selman, I would say, are the guys that I'm watching for here in this one. So only 2 of them are going to move on. As well, we talked about the prizes so far throughout this night, and Justin, well, here they are right there. You can see $10,000 to the championship winner in this series, and every single night $300 goes to the race winner.
And if you ask driver to driver, some say it's absolutely beneficial to win the championship, especially for those with the real world careers. For others, they like to have that, of course, as the champion, to have that right to be that person. Remember, Bergeron has had that multiple year in a row streak of championships. But the interesting thing is going to be as well for the drivers fighting as well for the middle of the top 10 prize pool, because that also goes a long way in terms of what is up for grabs for a lot of those competitors. And as we've seen with some of the points, a few of those positions are fairly tightly packed entering the second half of the season.
And there's a couple drivers in the top 10 of the point standings in this heat or in this LCQ right here that might not even make the show tonight. So we'll have to see what happens as we go green off of turn number 4. The 17 of Merriman, your points leader in the series, will show the way off of turn number 2 and down the back straightaway. LeMay in second, Rumsey in third. He's challenged on the inside by the number 4 of Ross Kaiser. He'll slide by and take third.
Ross Kaiser trying to put on the turbo boost as he tries to stick to the outside. Rumsey, though, with the slide on back for third. Rumsey sends it nearly to the moon. He nearly hits the wall as Kaiser gives the squeeze. Here comes Austin Selman saying, beep, beep, I'm spinning around.
Yep, he got hit from behind, and that's going to be the end of the night for Selman. I think he got together with possibly the 51 of Clayton Tilley. Tilley now at the tail end of the field as we watch the race for the lead up front. LeMay around the outside. He's going to take the race lead from the 17 of Merriman. Merriman cuts back to the inside. He'll reclaim the lead. Now, this looks like the race in the last LCQ for the final transfer spot all over again.
Back and forth like a pendulum swing they go as Merriman and LeMay going with back and forth slide jobs. Merriman goes for the slide to the inside. Crossover on back from Gregor LeMay. LeMay's got the run this time down the front. LeMay gets the spot now into turn 1. All of this is while they are gaining time on Ross Kaiser by 1/10 of a second per lap on average, especially since Kaiser just knocked the wall down.
Merriman back to the lead. LeMay turns it back to the inside. He will lead on lap number 6, halfway home here in the LCQ number 2. Gregory LeMay, the driver out of Birdsboro, Pennsylvania, driving the School of Sim Racing, Crescent Donuts, number 99. Now back to the inside, trying to roll the bottom, the 17 of Cameron Merriman, but it looks like the high side momentum will pay off, and LeMay leads lap number 7.
LeMay now getting back into a rhythm. Remember, he was very close to moving on from his heat race before last lap, last quarter battle with Tyler Ducharme. He's now building up a buffer over Merriman. Building it up now to 5 car lengths. These two now have a gap of nearly 1.5 seconds plus over Kaiser and company. Under 5 laps to go. LeMay looking for an LCQ victory.
Yeah, looks like LeMay has strong-armed this one away from the 17 of Merriman, and now Merriman knows he's got a lot of room behind him. Back to the number 4 of Ross Kaiser. He's just at this point got to put it in the show and not tear up any race cars here. So Merriman, when he does make the show here, Justin, the points leader in this one is going to start from 20th, barring any issues here with the final 3 laps upcoming.
And we've seen once before this season a driver come from very deep in the field, around 16th, 18th position. That was at Kokomo, if you remember correctly, with Evan C. It's not going to be easy for Merriman if he continues to hold on and gets himself for sure on in. They have a 2-second buffer, keep in mind, with 2 laps to go, with LeMay picking up the distance now by nearly 3/10 that time by. LeMay is rolling and rolling fast.
Yeah, LeMay, I think this LCQ might help him out as we head to the feature event. He can make some last-minute adjustments to his race car that nobody else in the feature can do, as LeMay's getting that most track time out of anybody here. He's on the last lap, heading down the back straight for the final time here in LCQ number 2. Back behind him, the 17 of Cameron Merriman, looking to make it through 3 and 4 for the final time, and those two will move on to the back of the feature event here tonight in Knoxville. LeMay wins LCQ LCQ number 2 over Cameron Merriman, Ross Kaiser, Logan Rumsey, Carlin Cure, Clayton Tilley, Austin Selman, and Justin Sherman rounding out the field. And just like that, Justin, we are ready for the feature event here in a few moments.
Yeah, that's going to be a very fun feature, I think, for tonight, because the field has a lot of storylines going on through it. Bergeron with a good chance to just about close up the points gap with how things could fare out tonight, depending on how things go with some of the drivers from the LCQ, such as Merriman. You have Merriman, in turn, having to essentially be the driver who has to try the last to first challenge to try and get himself up towards the front. You have drivers like Edens, Eiler, Cardwell with good track position. Then you have drivers like Roy who have picked up speed, Beerline who's picked up speed, as well as a few others. It's going to be a fun feature tonight, but it's going to be also interesting which drivers have to fare things out.
Okay, don't go anywhere, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be right back here with tonight's feature lineup after a word from some of our sponsors here. We appreciate you watching. We'll be back here in just a few minutes.
Shows on dirt, World of Outlaws sprints, late models, and Super Dirt Car Series. You also get Dirt Car Summer Nationals and weekly shows from America's top tracks. Dirt Vision has the best all-around live coverage with flexible options for casual and hardcore fans. No commitments, cancel anytime, apps for most devices. Get your Fast Pass now at dirtvision.com. Every week, Dirt Vision brings you the best racing coverage from America's top tracks. You get high-speed thrills at the big half miles at Williams Grove, where the Pennsylvania Posse roams, and Knoxville Raceway, the sprint car capital of the world. There's also wheel-to-wheel action at Attica Raceway Park, Jacksonville Speedway's quarter-mile bull ring, and the tight turns at Huset's. Sprint cars are the main event, but there's plenty of other grassroots racing to satisfy every fan. See local drivers working to become the stars of tomorrow. Williams Grove, Knoxville, Attica, Jacksonville, Huset's. These tracks make up the weekly racing family, all season long on Dirt Vision.
Welcome back to the sprint car capital of the world. It's Knoxville Raceway. It is home of round number 6 for the 2021-2022 World of Outlaws NOS Energy Drink Sprint Car Series World Championship here on iRacing.com. And we're not going to wait around, ladies and gentlemen. It is feature event time here tonight for 35 laps around the sprint car capital of the world, Knoxville Raceway. Let's take a look at tonight's feature event lineup. On the pole, he's the three-time defending series champion out of Drummondville, Quebec, Canada. It's the ABR setup shop number 12 of Alex Bergeron. And to the outside of him out of Franklin, PA, it's the Albus F Sim Sport number 5 of Braden Eiler.
The next row features the number 52 from Santa Rosa, California, James Edens. He'll start alongside the Knoxville, Tennessee-based driver of Hayden Cardwell.
Row 3 on the inside, driver out of Woodford, Virginia. It's the 13 of Aiden Beerline. And to the outside of him, the number 85 of Tyler Shell. He's out of Millersburg, Pennsylvania.
The next row features the number 74 from Tracy, California, Adam Elby, who starts alongside the Asheville, New York-based driver of Lake Majulis.
Row 5, night starter, 33 of Evan C., winner earlier this year at Kokomo Speedway, coming to us out of Chesty, South Carolina, and making his first feature event of the season. It's the driver out of Naperville, Quebec, Canada for Jim Beaver Esports, the 91 of Felix Roy.
From Greenfield, Indiana, the next driver is hoping to be the shooting star for the mid-pack. It's Rylan Gray. He'll start alongside the number 48 machine tonight. Featuring one driver with a lot of speed over the last few weeks on the service, it's Dylan Yeager.
Row number 7 on the inside of the Lima, Ohio. It's the Black Diamond Motorsports number 91 of Ernie Williams Jr. And to the outside of him from Hanford, California, the 69 of Shea Paulo.
Another Californian starts on behind. That is going to feature the number 69, as mentioned, Shea Powell. But that also sees the number 14, J.D. Brown, start in row 8. J.D. Hollywood Brown starts alongside tonight, Tyler Ducharme.
Row 9 on the inside, the winner of LCQ number 1 tonight out of Auburn, Washington, the 33 of Lane Stevenson. To the outside of him out of Birdsboro, PA, it's the 99 of Gregory LeMay.
The last of the drivers in the field tonight, the number 50 machine, looks to wheel it from the back of the field from Newcastle, Australia, in Clayton Davies. And the points leader, Cameron Merriman from Ellicott City, Maryland, rounds out the field, starting shotgun in 20th.
Well, the points leader will start 20th. The driver second in points on the pole, and the driver third in the points will start from third. This will be interesting to see how Merriman can rebound after a terrible starting spot here in this one. Off of turn number 4, we're underway with round number 6 of the iRacing.com World of Outlaws NOS Energy Drink Sprint Car Series. Making their way through 1 and 2. It's going to be Alex Bergeron getting the first call down the back straightaway.
Bergeron with a perfect launch, already single file as Eiler tries to run around the middle of the racetrack. Edens, though, getting freight trainer on the outside. Edens already shuffled back to 6th. Shell now makes the move. Majulis now dives on up. They're 3 wide trying to get around Edens as Roy now tries to be the next driver. Slamming the door shut, though, as Edens as C hit the berm. Edens up into Roy as they bobble about out of turn 4 and save it.
A lot of wild stuff going on there around the 10th position, but a race for second. Give it to Hayden Cardwell down the back straightaway. He made it by Braden Eiler, the 07 car. Not wasting any time, but Eiler trying to fight back on the outside. It looks like Cardwell's going to have second at the start-finish line.
The elbows up Simsport machine not giving up very easily whatsoever now as Shell tries to dominate on behind. Eiler back single file with Cardwell. The gap now about 7/10 between Cardwell and Bergeron as Eiler tries to get the run back. Gives a pop to the 07. Cardwell not happy as he loses some ground on that one.
85 of Tyler Shell's there as well. He looks fast early on in this one as he tries to get by the 13 of Aiden Beerline. They're side by side going into turn number 3. The 127 of Blake Majulis is there as well, making it a 3-car race for the 4th position as Cardwell has now pulled 3 car lengths from the number 5 of Braden Eiler. Already 6 laps completed this 35-lap feature event.
Keep in mind, Blake Majulis is also on the charge, trying to charge hard from the berm, nearly sliding up into Beerline. Beerline getting stuck around the top line this time. Majulis, though, getting that bottom near the berm working. Shell trying to dive it on behind as well to join the fray. He makes it 3 wide into the corner. Shell passes 2 for 1 through the corner as Beerline tries to not give up easily as Majulis goes back for the bounce.
Yeah, Beerline stays in the throttle, drives back around the outside of Tyler Shell. The 127 of Majulis will go by as well. Now Shell off the inside berm. He'll look back to the inside of Majulis, racing for 5th, and now a race for 2nd once again. Braden Eiler back to the inside of Hayden Cardwell down the front straight of the number 5. The defending winner here at Knoxville is not done yet. He's trying to go to the inside of Cardwell for 2nd.
Cardwell tries to give a pinch now to Eiler as that forces a check up. They've been able to build up a decent buffer because of the craziness on behind by 5 car lengths. That grows now as a result of Majulis parking the bus on Beerline's front end. Those drivers now check up down the front. All while Cardwell tries to get some breathing room from Eiler and company. By the way, Merriman, he's up to 14th position chase. He's in the midst of the Hornet's nest.
Good move so far for Merriman. 10 laps in. He's already gained quite a few spots here in this race. Evan C. now the next driver to try and get by the 13 of Aiden Beerline. He makes the pass off of turn number 2. Beerline cuts back to the inside. That's the race for 6 down the back straightaway. Beerline takes it away as Cardwell once again has separated himself from the number 5 of Braden Eiler. We'll take a look at the lap times. The last time by Cardwell, a 15:364. And oh, what happened? What happened?
Tyler Shell just got hit and several cars crashing out of turn 2. Ernie Williams Jr., Evan C., Dylan Yeager all stopped along the edge of the cushion. Caution is out for the first time. Dylan Yeager not happy with himself.
And that's going to take out the 33 of Evan C., who was up there in the top 5. Evan C. actually was running in the 7th spot at the time. Yeager was running 11th, and Ernie Williams Jr. running in the 12th spot. We'll see if we can spool up an iRacing replay, but it looks like the end of the night here for Ernie Williams Jr.
Yeah, some big-time trouble in the corner where several drivers are trying to battle it about, as we talked about, in the midst of the Hornet's Nest. But in that sequence, essentially, You had Early Williams Jr. try and park it in front of Yeager, but Yeager mistimed the slide on behind. That was all while the trouble ensued in the next grouping in a similar battle where FNC got into Tyler Shell as Shell tried to dime in the corner to run next to the berm. And in turn, all four drivers sandwiched all together with their two different incidents. Williams Jr. with the worst damage out of all of them. Lost track position for everyone else essentially in the incident.
Yeah, wow, that looked like two separate accidents coming into one right there as they all wrecked into the corner. But that was a big break there, Justin, for Cameron Merriman. He's going to pick up 3 spots, I believe, with that accident. If I'm not mistaken, if all those drivers drop to the rear, Merriman should be up to the 11th spot. And like I said earlier, he has made great progress after starting dead last in this race. Merriman should restart in the 11th position. Other championship contenders, James Eden's running in around the 8th position. And like we talked about, second in the points, Alex Bergeron is up front, but I think Hayden Cardwell has a car that can contend with the 12 machine.
I think right now for sure, yes. It's going to be interesting, though, how Cardwell tries to play this out, because Bergeron was able to stretch out his legs, essentially, Chase, pull off and break away. The average pace over the past 5 laps, Bergeron had been about a 10th and a half quicker. But now, track settled on down a little bit, much more closer and buckshot up. Can Cardwell take advantage?
We'll have to wait and find out. The pace truck is off, and we are green flag racing down the front stretch. What a restart for Alex Bergeron as he pulls 6 car lengths on Hayden Cardwell. They all go to the top of the racetrack in turns 1 and 2. Cardwell going to try and mount a charge on the 12 of Bergeron. This is his only option, man. We don't see very many cautions, I feel like, historically at this racetrack, Justin, so that might have been his one opportunity.
Possibly, especially now that the gap is nearly already 0.6 of a second, similar to how the last time the green flag had to wave in the air went. Now, Majulis trying to find his way up inside the podium positions, though. Tries it on the top line. Not able to close up quite yet. All while they battle it about in the midst of the Hornets' nest. Keep in mind that some of the drivers, such as Merriman, are trying to run 2 by 2 in the midst of the pack.
Merriman just went by Ryland Gray, move him into the top 10 after starting 20th. Cameron Merriman is on his way towards the front of the field. That last time by, halfway home here in this race. Actually, this time by will be halfway home as Merriman now works on the 74 of Adam Elby. It looks like Merriman's car is really coming to life midway through this race.
And look at the line, too. We talked about if you can get the bottom to work here, it can be beneficial. The
race for second.
Working for Merriman. All but that race for second referred to is starting to heat up. Back and forth, Eiler now in front of Cardwell. 0.8 the gap between them and Bergeron. Eiler goes defensive with a hard charge to the corner. Builds up a buffer now over Cardwell.
Yeah, Eiler, wow, he drove by Cardwell and leaves him in the dust. We'll see what he can do now as far as the lap time. Oh! Eiler hit the wall right there in the middle of 1 and 2. Cardwell back to the inside, and now the 127 of Majulis is there. A 3-car battle for the second spot. Majulis times it off the corner. He's trying to take 2 spots down the front straightaway.
A big-time mistake for Eilert, costing him several positions. Majulis trying to take advantage to get up to a race-high second. Eiler wanting positions back now, tries to get back into a rhythm. 16 to go, this time by. Majulis rips the very top, a lot of weeble wobbling, all while Cardwell starts to build it up as Eiler goes for the send, but he clips the berm.
Yeah, Eiler tries to roll the bottom there. Does not work. The bottom does not seem to be in here tonight at Knoxville as Eiler once again drives it in deep this time. He'll slide it up to the top groove. Majulis cuts back to the inside, reclaims the 3rd spot down the front straightaway, all while Alex Bergeron enjoys a 1.326 second advantage over Hayden Cardwell. Meanwhile, Cameron Merriman all over James Edens now for about the 8th position.
Lots of squabbling, yes indeed. Here's a look at Merriman specifically in that battle. This is a critical spot for the championship battles so far this season. Contact with Edens. Merriman forced to save it. A big checkup as LB gives him a break. LB checks back up, trying to dive in and on back. Rowan Gray also in the mix. Merriman now under attack from the 74. Side by side once again for 9th.
Hayden Cardwell still in the 2nd spot, but here comes Braden Eiler once again. Throws a big slide job on the 127 of Blake Majulis. Majulis crosses back underneath him down the front straightaway. This race has been going, oh, contact, Majulis into the wall. Majulis is sideways, somehow hangs onto it, but there's got to be some damage to that car. He loses 3 spots down the back straightaway after contact with the 5 of Eiler.
A lot of wheel having to be put in for Majulis after that one. A lot of weebles and bobbles. Down the corner, Beerline now attacks him. That move for 5th position. 10 to go this time by. Majulis trying to get back into the rhythm as they continue to chug their way on forward towards the checker. A big slide from Majulis on back.
10 laps to go. That time by Alex Bergeron now out to a 1.2 second lead as Cardwell has cut that gap down just slightly, but he's got to do a whole lot more than that if he wants to track down Alex Bergeron. We'll take a look at the lap times. A 15.90 for Cardwell last time by and a 15.89 for Bergeron. So Bergeron definitely faster the last time by as he is closing in on one of the lap cars. That's Ernie Williams Jr., but shouldn't be too big of an issue for the 12 cars. We're watching Majulis trying to battle with the number 91 of Felix Roy, who's having the best run of his season so far.
What an incredible run for Felix Roy, let's put it that way, especially with some of the struggles early seasons. But now Eden's trying to bounce back on the bottom of the racetrack himself. Looks to clear on by Roy, parks it in front, makes the pass, coming up to 7 to go. Merriman looks to trying to follow on suit. Merriman tries to get the run now for turns 1 and 2. He follows the line of Edens, goes for the higher slide. All while Majulis diamonds it out in front of Edens. Here comes the run back for Merriman, though, to battle with James Edens.
What a run through the field here tonight for Cameron Merriman. Now to the outside of James Edens. Move Merriman up to the 7th spot. What a move right there through the middle part of the racetrack. Merriman trying to make this championship hit not too bad here. I can't believe what I'm seeing out of the 17 car here tonight. This is what champions are made of tonight there, Justin. Being able to come back from something like this is very impressive.
Keep in mind, though, up towards the front, Hayden Cardwell just found something, and something quick, because he's closed up the gap from more than a second plus to 9/10 in the span of 3 laps. Cardwell, he's found a grip line or something along that cushion. He's wrapping the cushion at a rapid pace, the quickest anyone's been at the top all night. 3 to go this time.
He's only got 3 laps to make it happen, but we've seen crazier things happen in this series. Down the front straightaway, Bergeron working on the slower car of Tyler Ducharme, puts him 1 lap down. Cardwell closing in quickly. Oh my goodness, he might get there in time, Justin. It looks like Bergeron really slowing down the back straightaway. 2 to go this time by Cardwell. Now within 3 car lengths off at turn number 4.
How in the world did Cardwell find this pace? He's trying to rip the fence down now to get the run. Not letting off the gas at all is Hayden Cardwell. Bergeron gives the squeeze. Coming up to the white flag this time. Bergeron tries to park the bus. Cardwell keeps it pinned.
Wow.
Cardwell spins it. Caution is out.
Wow, 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 wow. That is huge right there. Cardwell gets a right rear out of Alex Bergeron after a monstrous run to the back bumper of the ABR setup shot number 12. And we are going to have to take a look at the replay there because that's a tough call right there, ladies and gentlemen. The 12, the 07, they have had issues in the past, whether it's late models, whether it's sprint cars, midgets. It doesn't matter on this service. Those two do not get along at all. Here is the replay, Justin, as they work down the back straightaway. Cardwell looked to have this one in the bag, possibly.
Yeah, he was committed to that line, and then, wow. I'm not sure what else you can really say. The tape says a lot of what I'm thinking, Chase.
Yeah, here's a good look at it right here as Cardwell tries to make the move, and Bergeron just does not leave him that lane to make it happen on the outside. And the 07 just gets put right in the fence there. And I'm not sure what the officials are going to say about that, as Bergeron just did not leave a whole lot of room there, Justin. That's about as simple as it goes.
Exactly. Cardwell found a line and a half or something in terms of that pace. And if I was him, I'd absolutely be frustrated. That is absolutely huge. Now it's going to be interesting how the rest of this race plays out, though, Chase, because essentially, if my math is right, it's a 1-lap shootout. And I don't know if there's going to be enough time for anyone else to try and bounce back here.
Yeah, I'm not sure if Bergeron was maybe trying to save fuel. I'm not sure if his car just went away there, because the amount that he was slowing down, Justin, we've seen this at this track in the past where fuel mileage does come into play, and that's how Brady Nyler actually won the race here last year. He's in second right now, so that could be an issue here for Bergeron. He's ran the top of the racetrack the entire way, the longest way around. We're going to have a green-white checkered finish to this one. Green flag is back in the air. We'll see if Brady Nyler can win it 2 in a row here in Knoxville. We're back on green, and the white flag is in the air.
This could get interesting. Tyler Show not making it easy with the run, but Eiler's gonna run himself. Eiler with one big chance. He's hitting a bunch of bumps along the cushion.
Final time off of turn number 4. Alex Bergeron is going to win here tonight in a dramatic And a controversial way here at the Knoxville Raceway. That is the first win of the season for the three-time and defending series champion. Alex Bergeron gets the win over Braden Eiler, Tyler Schell, Blake Majulis, Aiden Bierlein. A top 5 finish here tonight. And your championship points leader rallies from 20th to 6th for Cameron Merriman. Rylan Gray in 7th, James Edens 8th, Clayton Davies 9th, and Felix Roy a top 10 finish.
An incredible night, an incredible finish. That one's going to be talked about a lot, to say the very least, Chase. That is huge for Bergeron because he had been struggling to break through the victory lane, mind you, before tonight's action. And in turn, this is huge to be able to bounce back after his technical issues a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see what the officials say about the finish of this race. I don't want to say it's official quite yet, as there is the top 10 finishers right there on your screen. Bergeron, Eiler, Schell, Majulis, Bierlein, Merriman, Gray, Edens, Davies, and Roy. And then behind them, 11th through 20th, was Adam Elby, Shea Pallow, J.D. Brown, Dylan Yeager, Lane Stevens, Hayden Cardwell, Gregory LeMay, Tyler Ducharme, Ernie Williams Jr., and Evan C. round out the 20-car field here tonight. Well, we're going to take a quick break, and we are going to talk to our race winner and the top 3 finishers here tonight. This should be an interesting interview. You're not going to want to miss it. We'll be right back.
Shows on dirt, World of Outlaws sprints, late models, and Super Dirt Car Series. You also get Dirt Car Summer Nationals and weekly shows from America's top tracks. Dirt Vision has the best all-around live coverage with flexible options for casual and hardcore fans. No commitments, cancel anytime, apps for most devices. Get your Fast Pass now at dirtvision.com. Every week, Dirt Vision brings you the best racing coverage from America's top tracks. You get high-speed thrills at the Big Half Miles at Williams Grove, where the Pennsylvania Posse roams, and Knoxville Raceway, the sprint car capital of the world. There's also wheel-to-wheel action at Attica Raceway Park, Jacksonville Speedway's quarter-mile bull ring, and the tight turns at Huset's. Sprint cars are the main event, but there's plenty of other grassroots racing to satisfy every fan. See local drivers working to become the stars of tomorrow. Williams Grove, Knoxville, Attica, Jacksonville, Huset's. These tracks make up the weekly racing family, all season long on Dirt Vision.
Welcome back to Knoxville Raceway for round number 6 of the iRacing.com World of Outlaws NOS Energy Drink Sprint Car Series World Championship. We are now standing here in victory lane, or on the podium, I should say. First off, we're going to talk to Braden Eiler as Alex Bergeron is talking to some fans and signing autographs before he comes over here to talk to us. Braden Eiler finishing up in second here tonight, the defending winner here at the Knoxville Raceway. And Braden, well, so close here tonight and had that green-white checkered finish, and I feel like on the restarts here, especially single file, the leader has such a big advantage. It was probably really tough to time that last restart.
Yeah, I accidentally tapped the bumper Alex there, so I kind of screwed myself up a little bit. I thought he was going, I didn't really get on it, but I rolled just enough to where I tapped him, and that's kind of a dead giveaway for him to take the advantage and go in the restart. So I was kind of behind the 8-ball there, but that last restart, I mean, I absolutely nailed the top in 1 and 2, and I was expecting him to block the slider in 3 and 4 because that's typically what he would do, and I thought that's what he was going to do. So I was getting prepared to try and run a cut down just to see if I can get that run off of 4, and then he didn't go for it, and I missed my line and got too deep in the cushion area in 3, and that kind of was it there. He was able to set sail there at the end.
Well, like I mentioned, you are the defending winner here in Knoxville, and tonight a second-place finish, probably one of your best tracks on the schedule. A valiant effort there at the end of the race to try and take the win away from Bergeron, ultimately a second-place run. Obviously, I don't know how close you were to that race for the lead up front there between those two guys, but from your vantage point, what did you see there between those two when they got together?
I saw Hayden's car flipping. I didn't really see what happened. Them two were kind of the class of the field at that point. With how they decided to regroove the track, there's a kind of a meta that you need to follow to, be quick, or you're gonna be out to lunch. So we had to follow that, and typically I'm not the best at doing it, but at the end, it kind of felt like I was struggling, but I didn't really see what happened. Hayden was definitely probably the class of the field that race.
He was definitely rolling there at the end of the race there, Braden. Nice job here tonight. Now, next week, and actually the next 3 weeks, I would say, we really change it up and we go to these 3/8 and quarter-mile racetracks. We've kind of been on the half-mile big tracks recently, which kind of what you seem to excel at. Are you looking forward to the next 3 weeks as we head off to those smaller racetracks, or are you kind of wishing we would stay on the big ones?
I don't really have much of an opinion. I think next week's Fairbury, if I'm not mistaken, and seems like that I've been in the top 5 every single race that we've ran there. So I'm not against it, but I guess it's just all going to depend on qualifying. I mean, the last 2 weeks I went quick time, then second quick, and that seems to be what puts you in the thick of things for the race wins. And finally been kind of figuring that out a little bit.
Well, Braden, once again, nice job here tonight, man, and we will see you next week for some more World of Outlaws NOS Energy Drink Sprint Car Series action.
Thank you. I just got to thank everybody at Elbows Up. Congrats to Tyler on third, sorry. Wicked Brands, Matthew Henniger, Wicked Cushion, Just Logistics, BS Airlines, Roofco Indy, Flow Racing, everybody else helps out the team, and you guys for putting in the work to put on the broadcast.
Braden Eiler finishes up second here tonight, ladies and gentlemen, and now we are talking to tonight's race winner. His first win of the season, which is pretty crazy to say after 6 races, but he gets the job done here tonight. Alex Bergeron basically dominated, I would say, the first 30 laps of that race. And, Alex, it's crazy to say that we're 6 races in, and this is the first win of the season for you. Obviously, a lot of top 3s and top 5s along the way, but is it crazy for you to even think that it kind of took this long? No beef with you and all that, but I feel like that's crazy to me.
Yeah, well, we had definitely a lot of bad lucks and all the weird qualifying lines and stuff like that, and the lap times. But we did good here tonight. We definitely showed dominance, and got in the feature. We were definitely good the first 30 laps, like I mentioned. But the last 5, I think car was definitely way better on the top, and the way his car was set up. But like I said, and on the broadcast, it's hard to say. But when I was in the car, I really thought it was my fault. But then looking back at it, just doing a clean slider line, and he was trying to go the same thing as Williams Grove last year. There's no room there for him, and I did not see him at all until he was there. So I apologize to him and everything when I was in the car, but after looking at the replay, there's really nothing I could have done there. I was running a clean slider line, and just tried to go for the gap that was not there. So I think we deserve this one.
So would you say that was more of a racing incident there, or are you placing blame on Hayden here, or what would you say, more of a racing deal?
Absolutely. We're both going for the win. He was definitely much quicker, and I gave it to him. Absolutely. We're very good the first couple of laps, but then he was running the top a lot better than us, and we were pushing the car as much as we could, but the setup couldn't handle it. So he was doing a great job out there in his team. But like I said, we did our job there, good slider line, and he had enough time to react, but he didn't do it.
Yeah, you mentioned he was pretty fast there at the end of the race. We were wondering on the broadcast, because this race in the past, I feel like, has come down to fuel mileage. Not a whole lot of yellows historically at this track. Were you pushing it on on fuel, or was his car really that much faster at those last 5 laps or so?
No, he was definitely much quicker. Like I said, his car was very stable, and ours was much better the first couple of laps. But there at the end, I was giving everything, and I'm usually very decent on the top, and now I can do anything. So, like I said, he was definitely fast.
All right, Alex. Well, congrats on the first win of the season, and that championship battle is getting even closer than what we ever thought it would be at this point in the season. Nice job tonight, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you, Chase. And finally, I got to thank Team EBR Esports, Jason, Rebecca, Brendan, also tonight for being there, and everyone that supports ourselves and the team. And congrats to Aiden there tonight, and Felix and everyone that did good. EBR Sub Shop. So also all of our partners: Speedlogic Caps, CSI Shocks, BNB Their Racing Simulators, Stoko and Joint Simon Gents, Redline Race Designs, C Symptography, Wraps and Stitches, and ABR Sub Shop, and of course you guys for the broadcast, and World of Outlaws and iRacing for putting this up, and of course my dad for watching all the time.
Alex Bergeron, your winner tonight for round number 6 of the World of Outlaws NOS Energy Drink Sprint Car Series here at Knoxville. And in third here tonight, we had to go a little bit backwards there on the podium interviews. Tyler Schell comes home in third. He's going to talk to Justin Prince.
Yes, indeed. And Tyler, you're starting to find stuff as well around the bottom of the racetrack, it seemed, towards the midway portion of the race. Talk us through your car, because it seemed you were picking up a decent amount of spots and making a lot of passes in the midst of some of those battles around the edges of the top 3 and the top 5 prior to the final stages of the race.
Yeah, I just I don't like running the top at all, and I definitely was not comfortable running the top at all. So I went searching, I found a line, and it started going away, and then I ran it pretty good there the last lap. I just screwed up a little bit in 3 and 4 and pushed tight, and had to lift a little bit, so a lot of Braden farther ahead of me. But definitely I'll take a 3rd place after the first half of the year we had.
Yeah, first half of the year, you were at the end of that 5th round, 10th in the points, should say, a little bit behind Evan C. What's been kind of that mindset now, like after you've had a bit of a holiday break? Know there's a little bit of another break coming up to be able to regroup as well before you go for the short track side of the schedule. What was kind of that mindset through the holiday break to try and get yourself on the right track to be strong for the second half?
Just new season, just take it one race at a time, and just worry about qualifying. Qualifying's super important always in this stuff, and just get through the heat race better than I was first half of the year. I think 3 or 4 races I moved backward in a heat race and just put myself in the middle of the pack and just getting caught up in stuff and just having bad luck. But the bad luck got run out eventually.
Now, the main thing, though, is the next 3 races are all shorter racetracks, a bit more tighter confines. Cedar Lake, for example, I think it was, correct me if I'm wrong, I believe it was you who ended up going over the wall into the pit lane. How do you try and make sure you don't end up being that car this year?
Just know my boundaries. I was trying to get the win that night, which I always am, but if I would have did it this year, I would just settle for second kind of thing. Second was definitely better, helped me in points last year. Probably would have gained a spot or 2, but yep, just be more mindful of not flipping out the ballpark and making a fool of myself.
Thank you very much for the time, Tyler.
Yep, I'd like to thank my Elbows Up Simsport again. Good run with Braden, and we had all 4 of us in the feature. And then Personal Evolution Company, Moreland Tires, School of Sim Racing, Paints by Tuna Can, and Hurricane Real Estate.
Thank you very much for the time once again.
Thank you.
That's Tyler Schell rounding out the podium positions tonight. Chase, back to you.
Well, Justin, that's all we've got here as far as the interviews go on the podium. We're going to try and talk to Hayden Cardwell, but he has left the racetrack here, and we cannot get a hold of him, so not going to be able to talk to him. I know there's a lot of people watching at home that would like to hear from Hayden Cardwell, but not going to be able to do it here tonight. Well, Justin, this championship battle just gets wilder and wilder every single week that we go on as we take a look at what is to come here. Cedar Lake Speedway, not next week. That's going to be 2 weeks from now. Cedar Lake Speedway in Wisconsin. Then we'll go to Fairbury, Weedsport, and we cap things off with the dirt track at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Usually on the short tracks, Justin, is when crazy stuff happens like this. But it's been on all the big tracks where the crazy finishes and the wrecks and things like that happen. Now we go to the short tracks. What can happen there?
We can see Tower Shell go over the wall again. In all seriousness, we can see a lot of craziness once again, because the tempers and the tension has definitely felt like it's been on the rise a little bit the past couple rounds, but it's going to be really truly tested at Cedar Lake, which put on a lot of great racing last year. Fairbury, that's going to be a very crazy race. Weed Sport, Cameron Merriman had a very strong car that night and had a very strong second half of that respective round. In our words, it can go any way in terms of how the racing could fare, Chase, but also if you swing it towards the championship perspective, Bergeron and Merriman, they have to be focusing a lot these next few weeks to make sure that they know every single method they need to know for the racetrack. If they leave any stone unturned, it can be absolutely huge for the championship perspective, because we mentioned the importance of someone like Bergeron breaking through tonight. We've seen that with the points. We will have that chance to discuss that in the future for the next round especially. It's going to be a very, very close next few rounds.
Well, we can tell you right now that Alex Bergeron has now taken back the points lead here with the World of Outlaws NOS Energy Drink Sprint Car Series on iRacing.com. He leads now by 6 over Cameron Merriman, and then it's a pretty lengthy gap back to James Edens, at least 27 points at least for James Edens back in third, and then a huge gap back to fourth, Blake Majulis. So I would say, Justin, with 4 races left, it's going to be between the driver out of Maryland and the driver out of Canada. Bergeron going for his 4th straight title, and Merriman trying to upset him here.
Yeah, it's going to be a very fun battle because people know the story with Merriman. He works a lot on the service, has been someone that's, for much of his career, been getting better and better and better, figure things out at the end of last season, had a lot of momentum, was considered one of the favorites coming in, had some injury stuff to deal with before the season started, had to work back to figure out everything with some of the various builds, and now is back in that situation again. It's going to be a fun next few rounds, to say the very least, to see which drivers are able to conquer the short tracks and the small tracks.
Well, we just got back from a 1-week break. We're going to take another 1-week break. Next Monday, we will be off. But then the Monday after that, on January 10th, we'll be back for Cedar Lake Speedway in round number 7. That's all we've got here tonight from Knoxville Raceway. We hope you enjoyed tonight's coverage. My name is Chase Rodman for Justin Prince and Tyler Maxson. We'll see you in 2 weeks when we head off to Cedar Lake Speedway in Wisconsin. See you guys then.